In this hole, we have what we call the nderema. This is an iron-rich vegetable, and I like showing it because now you can just see it's small like this, but this vegetable can grow wild. It can grow really fast. So one of the things we have learned is that we should have positioned it where we can actually have it grow, not on a tree that we are going to put here as a support, not the way we do like supporting tomatoes, which are there for a season, but these can like be there for years. So if we are going to allow it to go on the wall, that's a different thing, but it still has to have some support. So on the same hole, we planted the mulberry. I'm really proud of this mulberry, and I will water it to the end. I have tried this for several months in different places of the farm. It puts on leaves like this, then it dies. But we cannot have these two things at the same time, because this also puts on many stems and then it grows very tall. So we will need some thinking on how to even shape this mulberry. So one of the things that we can learn is the distance from the wall. If you can see the distance we have from the wall, this is quite okay, because some of these trees have roots that grow very deep, others are not deep, so they can interfere with the wall. Having a food garden is something nice because it keeps your friendship. You have something that you can give away. You have something for your family. And of course, it keeps you busy. You're always on the farm. You don't keep idle. You learn. And you touch base. Sometimes when I look at the way these plants grow, honestly, you can't forget to think about the goodness of the Lord. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us. It's a good afternoon from our village here, and we are enjoying the heat. It is extremely hot. It has just changed from being very cold, very rainy, to now very hot. We are actually already longing for the rain season to be back again. Yet it has just been a week or so. Yeah. So we want to thank God that He has given us this beautiful day, that we are able to rejoice and be glad in it, and be able to share another video. And today we are going to talk about the lessons that we have learned from this season in our garden. And we would be glad to have any comments or for you to share your experiences so that we learn, and as we continue doing the next season, we can be able to implement some of the suggestions that you have. So welcome to African Mom's World, where we do a lot of gardening. We share experiences of the places that we have visited. We talk about culture, we talk about dress, and any topics of interest. So come along with me as we share the lessons from our gardening this season. In today's video, we are going to talk about the lessons learned. And we are going to begin from the bananas. So if you can see these two bananas, you may just see them as bananas, but there are two different types of bananas, which I got from a neighbor. And my interest had been in the bananas that are ripened, the small sweet ones. So this is the small sweet banana. But this is not the sweet banana. This is a green banana, the one that we use for cooking. We have also learned something about the manure that we use. Basically, the manure we have used in this farm is from the chicken waste that we used to keep chicken a while ago, but not anymore. But still we had kept some of it, which we are continuing to use now. So when we talk about an organic farm, it just means that we do not use any chemicals. So we have used manure from goat in some places, which I will show you, but majority of the places we have used chicken waste. For this banana, we actually also use any of the food leftovers. And you can see that the bananas are doing quite well. So after the weeding, we have continued to put in the household, or we call the food manure. So like now you can see we have just put in the leftover for cabbages, which ideally we should have given to chicken, should we have had, but now that we don't have, this is what we have put. So one of the lessons that we have learned is when you are getting any, not necessarily even the bananas, but any plants, be sure of what you have been given or what you have got. Because I don't know how it's going to be when we are going to have suckers or more bananas growing from this one hole. Does it really matter? Let me know in the comments section below. So this pawpaw, we actually planted them at the same time, and we grew it right from the seed in the farm. It's a very popular tree with the birds. I don't know why, but they like coming to perch here. Now, because we have so many of the male pawpaws, we have become more curious to find out if this is a male or a female. Now, by now, we would be having already signs that this is a male. There would be string-like things hanging here with a lot of flowers. But at the same time, we also don't see any signs of fruits, yet the ones that we planted at the same time already have fruits. So at the bottom of this, you can see some white stuff. Actually, these are droppings from birds. They really like perching on this pawpaw. And this is another green banana. Am I right? No, this is not the green banana. This is the sweet banana. You can see from the color of the leaves and also from the stem, it's slightly brighter. So at the bottom of it, you can see we have this seed. I can see another one there. These are actually from seeds from what do you call it? This is the avocado, and it has cracked, and I presume that we are going to have an avocado growing from here. So I will not let this free, but I will put it in the soil just in case it can give us a seedling from here. So I'll just cover it, and then in the evening I'm going to water it. So I'll not bother even marking the place, because I normally just water the whole place. So if you look at my previous videos, this was really small. This banana was very small, but I had to put in effort because I had been given by my neighbor, and from her place, when you see the way it has fruited, wow, it looks very nice. Then interestingly, we already have a sucker already developing from here, and yet the banana is so small. Wow, just look at this. It's already out. This is so encouraging. So bananas can germinate very fast. And we have other seeds here for avocado. And you never know, you just never know, because this is the same way we have had our pawpaws coming up very fast. So I'll just put it also here and cover it. Then we'll keep watering it because it's not the rainy season anymore, and you just never know. If it survives, we can then transplant it from here. Then we have this maize. I don't know where it came from, but we cannot uproot it. Let it survive. We might just eat another maize from here. But this also, we put in manure from the kitchen leftovers. Like now, this is actually an avocado cover. So in this hole, we had a pawpaw plant. Actually, it has really struggled. It never grew. It was so short. We tried all we could. We watered it. We put manure. In fact, in the process of putting too much care here, I actually stepped on it. And at another time, there was an accident. I cut a bit of it. I also had to use manila paper and tie it up, and also with nylon on top, just to make it firm so that it doesn't die. Eventually it has died, so we have an empty space here, and we will think of what to put. So this is my famous place. I really like this place because it was the first thing we ever put on our garden. We dug a very deep hole. I don't even know why we dig deep holes, but this was quite wide and deep, and we planted one banana which came from Western Kenya. If you've seen my videos, I have shown this banana over and over again until when we had it grow up, and it even ripened on the farm, and we ate it. It was very sweet. So here you can see we have amaranth, which is quite big, and I always remove these seeds because I think we don't need the seeds at this time. And when you remove like this, they don't mature quickly. It doesn't age fast. So we can actually just pluck some of these leaves and be able to have them as our vegetable. Amaranth is very good in iron. Then at the same time we have tomato. I'm looking for if it has any fruits. Yes, it has already started fruiting. Look at this. Just look at that. It has started fruiting. You know, the flowers are already here. So look at that. Here are more. So we'll not disturb it. In fact, we will just look for a stick and make it some support here. So these bananas, I had said before, it is putting suckers faster than we thought. Look at this, has already started putting leaves. And it's just the other day I was showing you that there are small ones that have come up. Look at that. Now the leaves are already coming. So one of the things that I have learned is that bananas actually they grow fast. They can have suckers, so many of them. So you need to have space where you need to reduce them. These ones have not yet become a problem, but I know it will definitely interfere with the way they are going to put on the fruits, the size of the fruits, because they'll be struggling for the same nutrients. So you see, like in this one hole, we have like 2 big banana plants. Then we have these 2 big suckers that are coming up. Then we have one on this side. We have 2, 3, 4 at the back there, and I'm sure there is one on this side. No, not yet on this side. So this gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bananas in one hole. No, I think that's too much. So if I am going to do these bananas again, actually I will have to transplant the smaller suckers into other holes. So one of the things that you could think about is having just a section demarcated for bananas, so that you can just move them from one hole to another. And you shouldn't be afraid that you don't have many, even if you just get one. Because imagine this, I got just one from western part of Kenya, and now I have so many of them. So bananas are a quick fix. If you want to have bananas in your garden, that is something that is doable. If you are keen, you can see that we have some trees here. These are just not normal trees. Now, ideally, when you want to have a food garden, a kitchen garden, or a backyard garden, whatever you call it, but this is supposed to be a place where you can grow crops or foods that can give you vitamins and minerals. Foods that you eat more frequently and those that you not need really on big or large amounts. For example, maize, which is a staple. You can easily get the maize from elsewhere unless you're just going to use it maybe for roasting and boiling on small quantities. But if you're going to use it as a staple and making like ugali where we eat maybe 3 times in a day, I think that needs to be on a larger farm. But for a food garden, I think you need foods, fruits, and vegetables. So here I have an apple. Here it is. And I will soon be growing it. Then I also have 2 avocados, grafted avocados, and I have 2 oranges. If you can see, they are still in their plastic bags, and this is on red soil. Normally our soil here, this soil that we have here, is the black cotton soil. But some people have criticized it, but we have planted on it for some time, and yes, it does work. But red soil is very popular, especially when people are growing fruits for large quantities. Maybe when you find people who are doing business, that's what they normally use. And I'm so surprised. Can you see that? My good people, what is this? It's another one. Another banana sucker, which I had not seen. So small. Definitely this needs to be transplanted. So I will be showing you, or we'll talk about fruits on our farm. So at this point, just know that I have bought some fruits that I will be planting. Then I have these cans that we have grown tomatoes. This is just one that have survived, but there were 3 of them, and it was a very good variety. We have kales. Kales are very popular in East Africa and especially Kenya. So I just have 3 of them. This may look very few, but it's one of those indigenous ones which grow extremely tall. And then I'll be able to get suckers from it and then transplant. And then I'll be having a kale garden very soon. And as usual, this is where we put our pawpaw seeds. We have actually 2 places I'll show you. When we eat any pawpaws, this is where we come and throw them. And within a short time, we have many pawpaws. So pawpaws are quite easy to grow. And I've even given out some of them because they grow so fast. I don't know why people find it difficult, but just from seeds, pawpaws do quite well. So here we are, we have several of them, and elsewhere again we have several of them. So don't ask those questions like, why are you measuring in pawpaws? Maybe the only thing we need to do is to be sure of which type of pawpaw we are trying to make into bigger pawpaws. Because if you ask me which type of pawpaw this is, I actually don't know. When I just eat any pawpaw, I come and throw it here. So we have learned something about these pawpaws. If there is any way that we can know which one is a female or a male early, that can be of help. And if not, if maybe what we have learned is that any pawpaw we eat, the seeds should be put in a different place so that we can try them out. Because like now we have one variety that is of the dwarf pawpaw, and it's doing very well. Yet we have another set that we had that has just come out to be many males. We have females that have started producing now, but that's after a long time, over a year. Which farmer wants to wait that long? Now on this side, we have tomatoes. And if you can see, we have different types of tomatoes. There are those that are big, those that are small. Can you see? Now, in a previous video, I had shown you that these ones had aged and we were going to uproot them. And because of the rains, they actually just sprouted again and they have continued. Just look at that. We still have small ones coming up. We have some that are flowering. But one of the things that we have learned is that for tomatoes, ideally you should not mix the different varieties. It would be good to have the different varieties, especially if you know which ones they are, separately, because they grow at different paces, they age at different paces. Some put more fruit than others. In fact, there's a variety that we had grown just before the rains in between here, and as you can see, the inside line is just empty, which means they all died. And then here we have these not so good looking potatoes. They're called Irish potatoes. Why they're Irish, I don't know. Just the other day we had so many flowers, and now we don't have, I think we only have about 2 or 3. They have dried up. And even we have these small seeds or fruits. I don't know what they are. But as you can see, we have already weeded them and have put soil, because that is what potatoes are about. They need to be heaped up so that we can have more of the potatoes, because they are in the ground. So they don't look so nice. And one of the things that we are learning is that this may not be the best way to grow potatoes. Maybe we need to make them in a heap. You know, instead of just having so many of these, just heap up the soil and put them on the sides. Maybe they'll do better like that. In fact, I'm going to try after this having them maybe in a gunny bag or in a container, just to see how they perform. So this ideally was supposed to be a seed bed, but how we came up and started putting the tomatoes and potatoes in the same place, God knows why. So this is a lesson for us that we should be more decisive at the first place, in the first place when you want to grow anything. So if you want this place to be for tomatoes, have one type of tomatoes, because you see, like these small tomatoes, they can really grow wild. They can be so many and cover the whole place. So that's one thing that we have learned. So I don't know whether we will harvest these potatoes, just keeping our fingers crossed, because the way they look, you know, these are signs of mature potatoes. From the leaves, they look like they're drying, and then they're already cracking at the bottom, which we don't know whether it's because of the cotton soil, because the rains are over now, it is back to normal, it is dried up. I do not know. But anyway, that is what a food garden is about. You learn as you go. So initially in our food garden, we had wanted to have this sort of layout, you know, have the storied gardens, multi-story garden. So ideally this should have been the base, and then had another compartment, at least 3 levels up, then grow different fruits or vegetables mainly, but that didn't turn out. So we had the spring onions, and we have eaten them quite a bit during the rainy season. They have done well. They have actually served us, but now they don't look so nice. We have 2 varieties, these ones, and then we have these ones that look like grass. So far we cannot tell which is the better version. Then at the same time, initially the first thing we had on this place were the Irish potatoes. They did well, but we had ants eat them. So we have put some, and they're drying up, some tomatoes. These potatoes are those ones that were there before. This is another tomato that has survived, but majority of the place actually is of pawpaws. We do not know which type of pawpaws these are, but we just ate up, we bought, ate, and then the seeds we just placed here. So one of the things that we have learned from this storied garden, when you make it so high, the water is not retained as much. You know, there's not much difference. So it doesn't have to be really high. So you could as well have just had the stories instead of just leaving it at one place like this. So unless you're planting something that goes deep into the root, for example, sweet potatoes or Irish potatoes, then it would have been better. But just to have tomatoes which can grow just up, or the spring onions, so maybe we'd have put in the bulbed onions. That could have made a difference. Yeah, so those are some of the things that we keep learning. And then also when we were doing our chicken, we used sawdust. And sawdust are eaten by termites. Termites or ants. Termites and ants. They really like those small chips of sawdust. So when we placed them here, we had a lot of termites. You know those small ones that eat up the plants? That's what we had, quite a number of them. So we will have to change this and put in more soil, then plant something different. So I hope you're learning something from my garden, the experiences that I have had. So let's continue with our journey. We also grew pepper, green pepper. It's not the hoho, not the hoho. This is the hot red pepper. And we just grew 3 of them. I actually had quite a number of them, which I had grown just from the leftover of the chicken hot pepper that we used. Personally, in our family, none of us uses it, but we have just grown it in case our visitors need, or if we keep like chicken, it is good to keep away the coughs and the colds from the chicken. So one of the things we have learned is that maybe we should have spaced them out, because what I have seen from other farms is that they can also grow a little big. So this spacing, I think, is quite close. You see, like the one that is closer here, and the bananas that are coming out quite fast, it could be interfered with. So there are also lessons that we have learned from cowpeas. Look at that. This is already dried up. This is dried up. And this one is actually green. I've plucked it out even before it's ready. But there's another one here. You know, this is a different variety. This, you see, there's this purple one, which I thought is the same one, it's just that it's aging. But it's proving to be different. So they're aging at different stages. While others are putting on flowers, others have already put on seeds and they have dried. You know, like look at this one. Look at this one. I don't know whether to split it. Maybe I'll do that when I'm harvesting them. Then I can show you. But this is quite a challenge, because for how long are you going to be on the farm? How long are you going to be on the farm? Coming to pluck 2 or 3, because if they stay longer, they are going to burst, and then we'll have all the seeds on the ground, and then they'll just be sprouting up wildly. Yet we want our farm to be a little more organized. So you can see like these are still flowering, and in the last video I told you they are yellow flowers. So there are different times. Look at that. This is purple now, and then on the outside it is yellow. I actually realized that in the morning and evenings these flowers are purple, but at this time they have closed. You can see at this time they have closed. They are actually yellow. But in the evenings, and even some that are in the shade now, have purple flowers. So you see, that is something that I have learned. But if you want to do just propagation and have these cowpeas for the seeds themselves, which are quite edible, because we like mixing maize and beans and making what we call githeri. But you can also put in cowpeas. Just look at this. This is really nice. This is good harvest. I really like this. So even as we continue eating the young leaves, you see the young leaves, we are still going to harvest this. Very nice cowpeas. So if you can see this bush, you can see quite a number of vegetables. The red ones there, actually I can't get in because I'm not in the proper gear for the garden. You can see the red amaranth, which has already put on seeds. But we also have the white amaranth. Here it is. Some already has seeds, but some can still be eaten. Yeah. At the same time, we have these big, just look at this. Big beans. I don't know what variety they are, but maybe when they have, I think they're yellow beans. I can't guess from the leaves. And when we were planting, I can't remember which ones we planted because they were mixed. So I don't know which particular one this is. Then we have a fruit here. This is our lemon. It's coming up quite well. So as you can see, this is a bush. We have cowpeas. We have amaranth. We have our fruit there, the lemon one. We have maize, as you can see. Then on the sides, we have the pawpaws. We have the indigenous vegetables like nightshade. Then we have trees, as you can see. Then at this point, there's this beautiful flower, which I must show you. Look at that. So this is the purple flower. Now we have variety of sweet potatoes. Look at that. So we have white, we have purple here, and we have the orange fleshed. So what am I saying? Is that when you decide to have a food garden, you need to make it a little more organized. There are some things that cannot be intercropped. For example, now this maize and the sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes can crawl and they can really move far. They can actually become a bush. And then also the different varieties, they stage differently. Some mature at 3 months, others 4, others even 6. And yet we just got these vines and just planted them because this section we had wanted it to be for sweet potatoes. We have put them all at the same time. Then we also put in maize. Now see, how are we able to dig or to put more soil on the vines? Because these are tubers, they are roots, and they need a lot of soil. So if we don't do that, then we will have less harvest. But now we have put in maize. Although even this maize is just for a short period, it's for 3 months, but it's not the best idea. We could have put the maize separately and just had this section for the sweet potatoes alone. There's something also that we have learned about pawpaws. You know, once you realize that you have at least 2 males, that can serve the population in the area. I don't know why we have maintained more than, actually we have 4, and they have grown so big. Just look at that. And they don't even provide a very good shade because their lifespan is also short. So if it is just for the function that we need some for the female, then the better option would be to cut. Actually, we will be cutting them because I don't know actually what to do. And I asked in the last video if anybody has any ideas what we can do about these male pawpaws. Let me know. Let me know again. We got a few suggestions. Some say that we can use them for chicken feed. We don't have any chicken actually. So I don't know. Do we just cut it? You know, the other thing that pains is that this is a dry area and we have really watered them. For these trees to reach this point, we have done a very good job. So you see, if all of them were female, okay, we don't expect all of them to have been female, but just look at that. Can't imagine. This is really good. It has been worth the waiting. But now, because the rains are done, we will also need to put a little water. Just look at the way it is cracking down there. You know, this is not normal heat. It is extremely hot. So we'll have to water some of them. Now I'm bending here right under the trees. And it's a good place for us to do our seed beds. So instead of doing it on the ground, we use containers. Spinach has been one of the things we have always wanted to have on the farm. But it's so difficult for us to plant them. I don't know. You see, like this one, they germinated quite a lot of them. And anytime we try to transplant them, they just dry up. So I don't know where the problem is. We even had a very nice season for rain. And whenever we just transplanted them, they died. So we have a few left here, actually about 10 of them. And now the decision is, do we leave them just to grow from here? There are still some small ones here. Or do we try transplanting them again? This is a very difficult one. You know, this is a very difficult vegetable to grow. It's a nice one to have because you can mix it with other vegetables like cabbage, like our kales. You can eat them alone, you can blend them. They make very nice smoothie. But wow, this one has not been very good or very kind on us. For those of you who have grown spinach, please let us know. Just help us. We need some spinach on our farm. We don't even need many, just a few, because these vegetables we are planting are just for home consumption. Then here we are. I was so excited when I planted these tomatoes. They are so small and they're oval in shape. And when you eat them, it's like you're eating a fruit. So I just got a few. I think there were actually 2 of them from a friend. And they germinated a lot. And it really took time, in fact, for them to germinate. But now here we are. Even before we transplant them, I actually transplanted a few. And just maybe 2 or 3 or so are surviving wherever they are. But these ones, in fact, my heart is not here again. Because you see, like we have already transplanted others, they're already flowering. Then look at this, this is the time they are reaching this stage. So is it that we put them in a small space? Is it that we did not use the correct soil? What could have been the problem? I'll still transplant some of these because that variety was really nice. And yeah, keep hoping that at least I'll get some seed. Because you see, going back to the person who gave you and tell her, oh, they died, that looks like a far-fetched story. Yeah, then we have these are pumpkins. I've always wanted to have pumpkins on the farm because we eat quite a lot of pumpkin leaves. We make them into, you just eat them with our staple, which is ugali, but you can also pound them in other vegetables and yeah, other foods, because they're easy to cook for children. And generally in our African culture, we eat quite a lot of pumpkin leaves. So we got this pumpkin from our neighbor. As I had mentioned, we are in a different area from where we grew up. So these pumpkins are actually a different variety and they grow quite fast. About 6 months, you have your pumpkins. So we are drying them. Then we'll be able to, just the same process as we have done the pawpaws. After they have dried, we'll now put them in a container and see how they grow. But we'll also have direct planting into the soil because we eat quite a number of them, and we have to be very clear about where we want to place them because it can grow really wild. So what we are looking forward is eating pumpkins, vitamin A rich, and even these tomatoes that are refusing are also vitamin A rich. So those are some of the lessons that we learn, that whenever you have something that is in small quantities, for example, the kales that we received, very few of them, this variety of tomatoes. Now this one pumpkin that we got, we have to ensure that we multiply it, not just eat and throw away the seeds. And by the way, these seeds are also very good. You can eat them. There's the edible part of it inside, which is rich in minerals. Selenium, I guess. Yeah, I can't open it up now. It's still a little raw, but with my teeth I can. But now I'm looking for seeds to plant, and I might just have to remove them from here because I'm realizing they are not the number that I put here. I'm sure these birds have visited it already, so I'll keep them elsewhere because even now they're looking a bit dry. So those are a few lessons that we have learned so far. So in this hole, we have what we call the nderema. This is an iron-rich vegetable. And I like showing it because now you can just see it small like this, but this vegetable can grow wild. It can grow really fast. So one of the things we have learned is that we should have positioned it where we can actually have it grow, not on a tree that we are going to put here as a support, not the way we do like supporting tomatoes, which are there for a season, but these can like be there for years. So if we are going to allow it to go on the wall, that's a different thing, but it still has to have some support. So on the same hole, we planted the mulberry. I'm really proud of this mulberry, and I will water it to the end. I have tried this for several months in different places of the farm. It puts on leaves like this, then it dies. I actually don't know what the issue is or the issue was, but now we are happy we have it here. But we cannot have these two things at the same time because this also puts on many stems and then it grows very tall. So we will need some thinking on how to even shape this mulberry so that it doesn't grow wild, and try to tame it so that it's in a place or in a design that we can be able to even be happy eating the fruits. But this, because we are going to eat the leaves only, we need to see maybe, yeah, at this early stage, maybe need to transplant it, or as it grows, we just, because it's only a cutting, then we can cut it and transplant it elsewhere. Yeah, so those are some of the things that we learn as we go. There's a space here which we can grow a tree, but as we had decided earlier, we are not just going to grow any more exotic trees. I think we have enough of the pine and the grevillea. Those are enough. And now we are going to plant fruit trees. So one of the things that we can learn is the distance from the wall. If you can see the distance we have from the wall, this is quite okay, because some of these trees have roots that grow very deep, others are not deep, so they can interfere with the wall. So that's one thing you need to consider if you're having to grow any trees or fruit trees around the perimeter wall. But these are our pawpaws. This is our famous dwarf pawpaw. So you can see this is barely at my shoulder, but the other ones I showed you are way above. They're actually so tall. So one of the things we will do is now to stop germinating any more pawpaws from the other trees, but major on this one, unless we are so sure it's a different variety that takes a shorter period, or any other variety that will give us reason to keep or worth the wait. So we haven't eaten this one. I hope it is sweet, and we can't keep our eyes away from checking when are we eating our first fruit, when are we eating our first pawpaw. When our friends visit, they're actually telling us, please remember us. They also need this variety. So having a food garden is something nice because it keeps your friendship. You have something that you can give away. You have something for your family. And of course, it keeps you busy. You're always on the farm. You don't keep idle. You learn. And you touch base. Sometimes when I look at the way these plants grow, honestly, you can't forget to think about the goodness of the Lord. This is the pomegranate. I actually weeded it the other day. But you can see, because of these cracks here, it means the place is a little more soggy. You see, it hasn't dried like the other places. At least it's getting stronger now, and we can see more leaves coming on it. So this is a new plant or a new fruit tree for us. We have never tasted how it is, but we have read about the health benefits. So we have planted quite a few. And in the next video, I'll actually be showing you about our fruit trees and how many we have, why we have them, what are the benefits. You don't just plant for planting's sake. There has to be a reason for you to do something. And look at this. These are also others. Very proud that we have more purples that are having fruits on. It has been worth the wait. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have learned something, because even us, we are learning as we go. If you have any suggestions, please be fair. Just let us know so that we can improve. Because as you can see, these ones are already aging. Our cowpeas, our beans, our green grams, our amaranth, all of them are actually now at a mature stage, and soon we will be harvesting them. So we'll be thinking about what else to put. So if you have any ideas, kindly share. See you in the next one.